You remind me of him, Traveler. It's that same unwavering hope that led us straight into oblivion.
Welcome back, everyone. So, also new camera angle for anyone who's noticed. There's the old camera angle if we want to go there, but anyway, we're getting a bit creative. So we got about 12 to 17 hours ago, we got a absolute dump of information for Last Epoch 1.1, which comes out, and I think in a few days. I think it's the 7th of July or so, which would make it Monday. Anyway, I thought I'd do a quick run through of some of the changes that they've identified that'll be coming into the game in the next few days or in the next 1.1 patch. And yeah, so let's have a quick run through and see how we go. I'm super keen to play this game, by the way, just in 1.1. Like, I didn't mind 1.0. It's still very good. It's got a good player population behind it still, and definitely fills the time in between waiting for Path of Exile 3.25 and or Path of Exile 2 for later in the year. Anyway, let's jump into some of these pre-patch notes and have a talk about them. Okay, so these are the notes that were posted on the website today, in particular the Last Epoch forums, and let's have a quick talk through these. So I just got to adjust this new camera angle. Anyway, all right, mechanical changes. So just going down, I had a quick look at this earlier. So they're changing blessings slightly. So blessings can sometimes become a key piece in making a build come together, and also in basically getting access to different gear and drops in particular. So you get blessings when you complete each of the monoliths. So you take on the last boss and then you get different blessings. As you level that up and your corruption levels get higher, you get better blessings. So just looking at that, you will now find an NPC in the End of Time next to the Monolith of Fate entrance, and similar to the passive respec NPC, for a small gold fee, the NPC will enable you to swap between blessings on your that your character has earned, or the minimum rolled versions of blessings earned on other characters in the same game mode. So previously you used to have to kill the boss at the very end of the monolith to be able to do this, and then reset the blessing. Now you can just hot switch it. I think that's a really good change. I like it. No issues from me. Ladder improvements. We understand that ladders and competitions are important to a dedicated portion of our player base. The accuracy is an integral part of those. So basically they've just done a quality of life ladder system here. To expand the opportunities our players have to officially challenge each other, we have added a brand new level ladder to Last Epoch. This will track the race to level 100. It's sort of a non-issue though, like getting to level 100 in Last Epoch's a lot easier than in Path of Exile, but I can see the benefit of that. So not against that at all. Improvements are always good. Players able to garner monikers is always an awesome thing. I like this one the most here, Monolith Timeline Search. So basically you couldn't do this previously, and now you can literally just search for the monoliths that you want to do. One of the good things about this is, like, if you're farming for particular uniques or whatnot, this sort of stands out and you can now target farm different nodes depending on items you're going for. I think this is really good. Loot filter improvements. So for anyone who didn't know already, there's like a full loot filter system built into Last Epoch, and they're just basically refining this further. So adding in new filter rules. Item faction changes. Since we introduced our item factions, we have always wanted to provide options that suit everyone's preferred playstyles and also feel rewarding. Also in 1.1, each rank in item factions also now provides 5% increased favor gain at a maximum level of level 12 with 60% increased favor gain. Okay, while we were overall happy with where item progression in the Merchants Guild was, there were some ranks where we felt they offered very little in terms of upgrades as the other ranks, so they weren't balanced. To make progression feel smoother, we have split these ranks and introduced 2 more. I actually don't like playing with the guild, the Merchants Guild. I think it's boring just trading in Last Epoch. I actually like SSFing because it's one of those sort of games that it works really well for that, for target farming. Circle of Fortune. So usually I play Circle of Fortune if I'm playing between the Merchants Guild and the Circle of Fortune. Circle of Fortune is the way to go. It's a lot more fun. And now we'll be able to do the Nemesis bosses and things like that, like the encounters throughout the Monoliths of Fate. So it's probably going to be even more beneficial to us to do Circle of Fortune moving forwards. In addition to these previously 10 ranks, there are now 12 ranks that can be gained, so 12 ranks of favor that you can generate. which duplicate prophecies have received a rework in 1.1. Instead of duplicating these rewards, the prophecies now act as if you had 2 of them, meaning you can roll different uniques. For example, instead of getting 2 of the same rings from a single prophecy duplication, you'll now get the ring prophecy twice, which will in most cases end up granting 2 different rings, which is what we want. Okay, changes to corruption. So the gaze of Ouroboros, I always call it Ouroboros, it's Ouroboros. Anyway, so corruption is an integral part of Last Epoch's Monolith of Fate's endgame system. So for anyone who doesn't know what corruption is, you complete the Monolith of Fate all the way through to like level, was it 100 or not? Level 90, sorry, I think it is. And then basically you can unlock corruption levels, and the higher the corruption, the harder you make the monolith. So there's a lot more to achieve out of the monolith. And they say like the standard amount of corruption you want to do for like a full endgame build is about 300 corruption. But that's a controversial topic, and I'll leave that to Last Epoch players who are hardcore dedicated to the cause to argue that one out. So corruption is an integral part of Last Epoch's Monolith of Fate endgame system. This is a mechanic players spend a lot of time with, and it is pretty much the main endgame. As it increases the amount of experience gained and the likelihood to find rarer items, so it obviously increases the difficulty, so you get better drops. Okay, so previously your gaze of Ouroboros had diminishing returns. In 1.1, each gaze of Ouroboros will grant 12 corruption. This takes away the confusion over how much extra corruption you should expect to earn per gaze. So it's sort of like a arbitrary sort of amount generated per gaze. So another change that they've got here, which is pretty cool. So another thing to help manage corruption, now only 4 gazes will be consumed at one time. So instead of all gazes being consumed at once and you getting no benefit from that when you go to the next monolith, for example, or echo, the rest will now carry over to the next echo web. The amount of gaze consumed is capped at 4 to avoid the possibility of adding too much corruption and experiencing a sudden increase in difficulty after scaling or after killing a shade while increasing corruption in your high corruption timelines. So this is just giving it a little bit more of a balanced path to progression from what I can read here. So this is actually a really good change. Upon dying to a shade of Ouroboros, players will now only lose 1 gaze of Ouroboros instead of losing all of them. Previously, if you got smashed, you used to lose everything, and then you'd have to refarm Gaze of Ouroboros again, and then basically it would just be a pain in the ass to progress the corruption system into the end game, just made it really grindy. I really like this change. I think this is actually a really good change. So from this, these changes also mean that corruption can be gained quicker, so you can get through the end game quicker. For party play, we also know that gaining corruption in a party has been less than optimum, and that only the player who started the echo would earn gazes of Ouroboros to help them increase corruption later on. This has been changed, so all players in the party who have the required stability to be granted a blessing when the timeline boss is defeated will also gain a stack of gaze as well. These players can then increase corruption much faster. So it allows you to instance or solo and I guess co-op instance your Ouroboros gazes, so you can actually level up whether you're in a party or not. You still get the benefits of doing either or. That's really good. I like that. That makes it a hell of a lot easier for a lot of players. Okay, so class changes and skill balancing, which is the one that we all want to know about because this will be dictating whether or not we play whole new builds or come up with new build variations and combinations. All right, so without going into the details here, it's been a long-running bug in the community that using channeling skills stop all mana regeneration, especially in builds where zero-cost channeling skill triggered another that still costs mana, meaning players would need to ease off the gas and not juice into channeling. For 1.1, most channeling skills which prevented mana regeneration while channeling have been changed. They no longer prevent mana regeneration, however the base mana regeneration amount 8 has been added to their channeling costs. So it means you can just hold the button and absolutely go, wah! Which is fantastic. I like channeling builds. For anyone who knows my Path of Exile content, I like channeling builds. Skill changes. All right, so disintegration has historically been highly dependent on unintended interactions between 2 unique items in the past. This combination allowed you to greatly overcap critical strike chance, which offered a massive multiplier to disintegrate. This wasn't particularly healthy, and the mechanic was overlooked. With this in mind, we have updated older nodes and added new nodes into the disintegrate skill tree. to give it the power. So buff, I'm going to call buff there, shield bash. All right, shield bash as a skill is one which has been in the background for some time. We've even noticed that when people talk about melee skills, shield bash often doesn't get a mention. Yeah, because it just wasn't very good. Because it provides a guaranteed stun, it requires a longer cooldown to prevent it from being overly abused. Obviously, because you can stun bosses from what I can see here. However, this was certainly there was a lot of space available to improve shield bash. Okay, so the change to this is shield bash's cooldowns increased, but based on the amount of enemies that you stun. So if you stun more enemies, from what I can see here, your cooldown reduces from that 18 seconds, and I'm sure that you'll be able to reduce that cooldown with gearing and also skill attributes as well. So that should create some new build combinations. A no cooldown shield bash character, so we could play shield crush in Last Epoch. That'd be pretty cool. Avalanche. Avalanche is a very well-known skill, unfortunately only for when it's used by enemies rather than the shaman player. So the base skill is being reworked. It no longer is a channeling spell by default. It now costs 50 mana and creates one large boulder at a target location, followed by 10 small boulders. It is now always targetable, and the boulders fall within a circle instead of in an extended rectangle in front of the players. It has no cooldown, so basically you can just cheese Avalanche. There's so many cool build combinations that could come from this. That actually looks really cool. I don't know what to play, so I'm excited for this. There's some really cool changes here. So we've got the changes to the skill itself. Passive skills aren't the only area receiving balance changes. We're also visiting passives for many masteries, with a few in particular getting more attention. While none of these qualify as reworks, today we want to give you a brief look at some of the passive changes coming to the Sorcerer, Forge Guard, and Shaman. I really like the Forge Guard, but the problem with the Forge Guard is that it sucks. It just doesn't have that many cool it has cool interactions, but it just doesn't keep up with other spell or build archetypes or masteries. Forge Guard, that's what I'm interested in. Shield Crafter, you have a chance to cast a shield ring, so that was pretty bad previously. Champion of the Forge, you have increased critical strike chance while wielding a two-handed weapon. That could be cool. Master of Arms, you gain a bonus depending on the type of weapon you are wielding. Does this scale with shields? Yeah, reduced bonus damage taken from crits with shields. That's cool. All right. Hammer and Anvil, Armor Shred, Minion Armor Shred. Yeah, I don't know if that affected minions previously. Can't remember. Javelineer, throwing attack, critical multiplier. That could be cool. Shaman. Yeah, Shaman was a druid. Was a pretty, Shamans were pretty weak comparatively. I'm actually maybe keen to play Shaman because Shattered Heavens plus the new Avalanche rework could be actually really cool. Might be worth playing with. Okay, so patch notes had a fair few interesting things in them, or I guess pre-patch notes. We'll probably get even more detailed patch notes or updates in the next few days as we get closer to the Cycle 1.1 launch. But I'm genuinely pretty excited for Last Epoch 1.1. I'm probably going to be live streaming like a Wolf Summoner or something like that tonight. So yeah, if you want to catch some gameplay, definitely I'll be online with it. Now, if you like content like this, don't forget to like and sub to the channel. Live stream on Twitch quite a lot, and I will be back online as I've been away for the last month, but I'm now back for about another month and a half. So you can see me there. Don't forget to follow the Twitch channel. And anyway, until next time, I'll see you guys later.